Now, I know it's not Valentine's Day, and it's like, why are you talking about ships in Tower of God? I just felt like it, okay? I felt like talking about romance, and I felt like talking about Tower of God, so that's what's happening here. All right, let's lay down some ground rules. So the ships that I'm talking about, sort of the most popular ones, are the ships that are not canon. So no Daniel X Rowan, no Doan X Cha. Today, I'm talking about ships that are really popular, but are not confirmed. Now, I know you can ship characters that are like, you know, canon, gonna be together or whatever, or even if they're not together, we know that they're romantically interested in each other, like Doan and Cha, but I find it more interesting to talk about like potential ships, you know? Ships that are not confirmed, ships that could not happen, so that's what we're doing today. And we're gonna come at it from my perspective. I'm gonna talk about the ship briefly and then comment on how likely I think this ship could actually happen in Tower of God. And then I'm gonna also sort of give my own personal rating, like whether or not I like the ship. Tower of God obviously is not a romance-centered story, but there is a fair amount of like romance, especially with the rankers and the past things that are happening here. A lot of the drama that does happen stems from a romantic relationship. So there's a surprising amount of it. I don't think there's gonna be that much of it with like our main cast, but it's still fun to talk about, so let's go. Let's get the most obvious one out of the way, Bam X Kun. Bam X Kun, you definitely see this like everywhere. I mean, it's pretty obvious that they are so close in the story that it's something that you could almost imagine, you know? It's not hard to see why so many people ship these two. As far as likelihood goes, I think out of all the ships, it depends on how SIU wants to handle it. Like, they're such good friends that I think from SIU's perspective, he might be afraid that by actually confirming that there's a romantic relationship, would it potentially like spoil the friendship, or like maybe some of his audience would think that it spoils the friendship. I'm not sure. Like that's sort of where I'm coming at it from. Like, what does SIU think can be gained from actually confirming this? That being said, I think it's somewhat likely. You know, like I said, it depends on SIU's thought process. And I actually do think this is a good ship because, again, you can actually see the relationship. In some of these ships, it's like, why would you even ship these two? With Bam and Kun, there's actually like a lot of good reason for it, so I do like it, especially compared to a lot of the other ones. All right, I'm throwing this one in here too, because I talked about Arlen in one of my recent Tower of God lore videos. Jahad X Arlen. Oh boy. This is one where my personal opinion on this is that I would love it if Jahad and Arlen were friends, like maybe childhood friends, or maybe when they entered the tower, they were really close, but of course Arlen's feelings were not romantic. I think it's more of like, I ship them as like maybe really close friends, but at the same time, if we found out that maybe there was something going on, I think that'd be really interesting, and it would put a whole spin on the story that we heard, but I don't think it's likely. So likelihood, very, very low, but I actually kind of like it because it would spice things up. So there you go. All right, Endorsi X Bomb. We're gonna get back to some bomb ships here. Endorsi X Bomb is one of the ships that I would say I like it. I think as far as people that Bomb should end up with, you know, which I don't think he's gonna end up with anybody, let's be real. Bomb doesn't know what romance is. But I think that Endorsi is one where she's so different from him that I think it kind of complements him, you know, like, and I think Bomb is changing. He's becoming more assertive. He's becoming a lot more, I don't know, confident, right? But at the same time, like, I think Endorsi has those qualities as well and can complement Bomb's qualities. So some similarities, some definite differences, but like they work off of each other surprisingly well, you know? I don't know, there's something about it that I do genuinely like. And I think as far as likelihood goes, alongside Kun, it's actually somewhat likely because there have been some romantic scenes between the two of them, mostly from Endorsi's perspective, you know? So I would say it's somewhat likely. I think maybe a little bit less likely than Bam and Kun. And then I actually do like this ship a decent amount. All right, Rachel X Bomb. This is one that is not happening. There's no freaking way it's happening. I think it's shipped more because of their past relationship, but again, I've said this 100 times, Bomb has never had a romantic interest in Rachel. It's strictly that she is the only person he ever knew for a very long time. She was his light, his angel. She was pretty much everything to him. He never had a mom, he never had siblings, he never had a friend. you know, she was pretty much all of that combined, and Bomb doesn't really understand romantic feelings, so it's like, I don't like this ship. I'm not gonna lie, and I think it's extremely unlikely, so there we go. Alright, let's talk about Bomb x Eywa. If you don't know, Eywa Yan is one of my favorite characters in Tower of God, and she is who I consider to be my best girl. My waifu in Tower of God is Eywa Yan, and she always has been. She's the best. That being said, I'm not gonna say that, like, I'm a hardcore Bomb x Eywa shipper, because I'm really not. Like, I do like it. I think it's cute, you know, and I actually think maybe out of all the Bomb ships, it might be my favorite, perhaps. I do like the other two that I mentioned already, but I will say that I don't think it's very likely, just because it does seem like, even compared to Endorsi, Bomb is not interested in Eywa. You know what I mean? And like, he's not interested in Endorsi either, as far as we know, but I don't see it really happening. This is a hard one. This is a weird one because I do really like it. I just don't think it's gonna happen. That's my opinion. Bomb x Hwaryun it's a ship that like is kind of fun to think about, but there's no way it's happening, right? Like Bomb and Hwaryun? Like, there's no way it's happening. I'm trying to be as unbiased as I can be here, but Hwaryun is obsessed with Bomb as her god, and I don't think she would ever pursue Bomb, like, romantically, right? And from Bomb's perspective, he cares about Hwaryun, but I could not see him, like, falling in love with Hwaryun. Like, as beautiful as she is, they're not meant to be. I'm sorry. That's just my personal opinion. You know, maybe making this video was not a good idea. I think I'm gonna get a lot of hate in the comments. But let me know, like, if you disagree with one of these ships, or one of my opinions on these ships, let me know why in the comments, and tell me, you know, why it's such a good ship, because I genuinely think these are cool. It's just, there's no way they're gonna happen. That's my opinion. Okay, but going back to Eywa, let's talk about Hwangnan and Eywa. This is one that, I don't know why some people hate this ship so much. I've seen people be like, oh, Hwangnan and Eywa, and they're like, why would you ever ship these two? It's like, why not, you know? Hwangnan doesn't get much love when it comes to romance, when it comes to the shipping community, and I think these two are very close, you know? They're sort of like the leaders of Team Sweet and Sour, somewhat, and they had a lot of excursions and adventures together, and I think it's pretty cute, you know? I think it's a cute ship, and I think as far as likelihood goes, I don't think they have any romantic interest in each other because they spent a lot of time around one another, but there's never been any sign of that. So I don't think it's very likely. I mean, it's not like 0% like I think some of these are, but I do kind of like it. I think they're kind of cute, but I see them more as like a power team duo than romantic couple. All right, we got another Bomb ship in here, Yuri and Bomb. I kind of forgot to mention Yuri earlier, and Yuri x Bomb is one that is, again, kind of one-sided. A lot of people say Yuri's not interested in Bomb. Yes, she is. She is, because she clearly is attracted to him. You know, Repalista mentioned the boy, and I don't know, there was a panel where Yuri got like a nosebleed thinking about Bomb. It's like, yes, Yuri likes Bomb, and she mentions how he's handsome and cute. She likes Bomb. Not as much as Endorsi, maybe. She's not as obsessed with Bomb romantically, but she does like him, you know? But again, it's like, I don't know, Yuri's somebody that she has such a weird position, you know, like Endorsi, she's a princess, but she's like a Ranker princess, and they're just two characters that I like imagining it, but I struggle to imagine it in reality. Imagining the two of them together is so hard for me. I'm not sure why, but I don't think it's gonna happen, but it's kind of cute, you know, I don't know. I don't hate it, obviously, and I don't think it's 0%, but it's kind of unlikely, in my opinion. Now, Yuri x Leroro is an interesting one because there's a lot of fan art with these two, and it's because, if you don't know, Yuri and Leroro took the second floor tests together. Obviously, Yuri started climbing faster than Leroro. She kind of left him behind, but there's a lot of fan art and ships about these two, or I should say, there is a ship surrounding these two because of that, and I think it's a really cute one, not gonna lie. Like, just imagining Yuri and Leroro having some sort of fling, or having these, I don't know, it's like 1%, right? There's no way, right? But like, it's so, I like it a lot though. As far as, you know, likelihood of happening, like 1%, but I really like this ship. For some reason, there's something about it that just makes my heart melt. So there you go. Here's an interesting one, and one that I hadn't really thought about, but I've been seeing it more and more lately. I'm not sure why, just seeing the fan art, and I kind of like it, and that's Endorsi and Hots. And you may think, wait, have these two ever interacted? And they actually have a surprising amount of time. So the main time they interacted was the workshop battle when they were working together to take down Baragov. But even in season 1, like, Endorsi commented on Haas. She said something about him being like, you know, he's attractive or something, but I'm not interested. She said something at the table where Bam was trying to set them up, right? And he didn't really know what he was doing. It was just a funny scene, but that's sort of why some people ship them. And then in the anime, Endorsi, when she was, you know, injured, and then Bam's plan was to get Hatsune Shibisu's friend list, Endorsi on their friend list. There's a scene in the anime where Hats like blushes, and when he's talking to Endorsi, and a lot of people were like, oh, he's attracted to her. He's not attracted to her. It was more of like he's embarrassed to say what he's saying to her. But still, I do think this is actually kind of cute. And seeing the fan art makes me think, like, if she doesn't get with Bam, I wouldn't mind, you know, seeing this potential future. But at the same time, it's like Endorsi and Hats. It's a weird one, but I actually kind of like it. Now here's one that is it's not confirmed, but we do know one of the parties is interested, and that's Yurik and Garam. So when we met Garam on the floor of death, one of the reoccurring jokes was that Yurik has always been in love with her. And he shows up and he's like, you know, he acts all nervous around her, and she's very like, no, I would never, you're an idiot, right? But I think this is one of the ships that actually has a very high likelihood of coming true. Because the way Garam treats Yurik, it doesn't seem like she hates him. It's just, he's very, I don't know, he's like kind of childish, sometimes a little immature. He flirts with a lot of girls, but he's only interested in her. And I think Garam is just not interested in that aspect of her life right now. But if she is, I could see her getting with Yurik. I mean, they have a lot of good chemistry, and I have a feeling that she does think he's attractive. He's just kind of a knucklehead. So it's like, I don't know. I do think it's actually fairly likely, and I do really like the ship. It's pretty cute, but it depends on if Garam is genuinely interested or not, you know? If she isn't, then alright, well, there it goes, you know, that ship has sailed, or has not sailed, right? That's the term. But one way or another, we'll just have to see. This next ship is very interesting, because this is actually, I had no idea how popular this ship was. Han Sung and Evenkel. This is a very popular ship, and it's one that I think it's one that I enjoy, but it's one that I really don't think is gonna happen, because Han Sung and Evenkel have this really good working relationship, and it's like, look, Evenkel in romance, you don't put them in the same sentence, you know what I mean? It just seems so off. Han Sung, I guess, is sort of similar for me. It seems like he has such high ambitions and such clear goals that he wouldn't have time for something like romance. He would think it's like, why, you know? And I don't see Han Sung falling in love with Evenkel, or Evenkel falling in love with Han Sung. There's a clear chemistry here, and they're very close, but I think the likelihood of this is pretty low. But that being said, seeing the fan art and seeing, like, imagining it is pretty cute, because it's like, Evenkel is such a hulking giant, you know, and then Han Sung is this petite guy, but it's like, I don't know, there's something about just imagining that, and the two of them like interacting as a couple it's fun, you know? A lot of these ships are just fun. They're not meant to be taken too seriously, but that's why I think the likelihood is still pretty low. All right, we have a couple more here. Anak and Ron. I really like this ship, and I think it's fairly likely. The two of them have a lot of chemistry, even though they kind of hate each other. You can tell they hate each other, but still enjoy each other's company, you know? Like when they were at the ball, I don't know, there was a lot of good interactions between the two of them, and I think it'd be really cool because obviously their first time meeting resulted in a fight, then they had this big brawl later on, and it seems like to me, they really started to respect each other and sort of treat each other better afterward, almost like, you know, after they almost killed each other, they kind of came to understand one another. And I don't know, it's one of those where it's like the two shorties of the group, and there's just something about it that makes my heart warm, and I can't really explain it any other way. Dude, it's so hard to talk about ships because so much of it is personal preference, but I really like Anak x Ron. Likelihood-wise, it could happen. I'm not gonna say it's not going to, or that it's super unlikely. I think, you know what? It's fairly likely. Why not? I think it could happen. Okay, the last ship that I'm going to talk about, I apologize if I've forgotten some of them or some of your favorites, but the last one I want to talk about is Yura and Rachel. This, to me, is a good ship. But it's one that as the story continues, it's probably not going to happen because I genuinely think Yura is starting to lose interest in Rachel. Not romantically, obviously, but she's starting to see Rachel for who she is. We get these panels where she's like looking at Rachel, you know, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you acting like this, you know? And I think Yura eventually is going to betray Rachel and leave Rachel. And it's going to leave Rachel in a really bad place. But at the same time, if she does stay, I do think they are good for each other. They're both, you know, slimy, evil people who are working with Bug or working against Bomb and doing all these things. And they've always gotten along, you know? They've always just been on the same wavelength. They've always been there for each other. And even when White comes and goes, or Traveler, or Cosno comes and goes, or Fug comes and goes, the two of them always are there for each other, you know? And for two characters who are evil pieces of garbage, you know what? I wish them the best. I think it's a fairly likely ship, somewhat, you know, depending on Yura's decisions, but at the same time, like, I don't think it's gonna happen. It's like, I say likely in comparison to all of these ships, and all of them are just super unlikely. So yeah, we'll see. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the video. Just a fun little thing talking about various ships throughout Tower of God. If you have a ship that I didn't talk about that you really like or you think is very likely, or both, leave them in the comments down below. I'm genuinely curious as to what maybe I've left out. Huge shout out to my patrons. You guys are absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for all your support as always, especially the sponsors of the channel and Kings of the Tower, Fladan, Saeed Masood, and TechCrazy80. Thank you guys so much. Also, we have a Discord server down below if you want to join and hang out, talk about Tower of God, video games, or whatever. I like to hang out there whenever I get a chance. So join the Discord server if you want to interact more with the community. And tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to be reacting to the new chapter of Tower of God. It's so much fun. We do it every single Sunday night. So hopefully you can be there. It's going to be great. And with that, I'll see you guys in my next Tower of God discussion video. Take care.